Hello and welcome to this episode of Ask Boria. We've not done an Ask Boria for a while now, so it was important to do one before the Tokyo Games. Plenty of sport happening, cricket happening. Today, the women's final game of the series, 11 o'clock India time. Australia versus West Indies is on. The World Test Championship cycle has now been announced. India's home and away encounters for men have been announced. Plenty of sport. And of course, the countdown for the Tokyo Games, which according to me at this point in time is far more important than anything else in this planet as far as sport is concerned, is obviously 9 days away. So let's take one question at a time. There are plenty, and here's my computer, and the team has sent me, I will tell you how many that we will be able to address today. I'll take about 20 or 15 to 20 odd questions, which will obviously be the maximum that one can take in a show of close to 30 minutes. So the first one is from Nitin Rawat. And Nitin asks, Indian hockey team's performance in the last few Olympics has been disappointing. How do you see this team led by Manpreet Singh as a contender for a medal? Will this team end the 41-year-long medal drought? If you have seen the show, Nitin, that I did with the hockey team, Manpreet, Shrijesh and Graham Reed, you would have known that this is a good side. Yes, we did not qualify in Beijing, and that was the lowest point. In London under Michael Knox, and by the way, I followed the London team very closely, there was tremendous amount of internal problems within the team. And I remember I will not name the player, there was one player who actually said if he was not included in the team, he will beat another player up in the team camp and get him injured so that he can make the team. That was the level of animosity between players, and understandably India came last. If you spoke to Michael Knox, who was the coach soon after, and I spoke to Michael in Australia as well, met him in Sydney and in Perth multiple times after, and the stories that I got as to what was happening within the Indian camp in London was a horror, was a real horror story. So there were reasons why we did not do well in London. Now if you go to Rio under Roland Oltbergs, again a campaign that I followed very, very closely, that same problem of conceding towards the fag end of the match plagued us. We could have gotten valuable points otherwise, and we could have actually avoided, Belgium in the quarterfinals. But unfortunately, we could not, and drawing that last encounter where we should have clearly won disappointed us. We were all at the stadium in Rio at that point in time, hoping the hockey team will win, and we would have gotten a better quarterfinal. Unfortunately, that did not happen. This is a good side. Three things stand out in this side, Nitin. One, the physical fitness of this side is as good as any team in the world. If you actually see now and see India's performance in the recent competitions and in the test series, you will see that India is the side that has now started to score in the last couple of minutes. The physical fitness issue that we would concede, we would give away penalty corners, that's gone away. This side is actually one of the fittest in the world. And according to reliable sources, if you take a yo-yo test of the boys, they are at least 20% higher than the cricketers. They are that fit. So if that is the case, I mean, one that and clearly is understandable, that explains why India is able to play with the same kind of intensity. If you ask me, will they win a medal? Now that is a very difficult question to answer. Will they win a medal or not? But we have beaten Argentina, beaten Belgium, beaten Holland, beaten Germany, and beaten Australia. These are the teams that are the top 5, according to me, that can win, and we have beaten each one of them. So to say that this team doesn't have a podium finish chance is wrong. I do think they have a chance, but you know what? It is Olympic stage, so every team will be sort of pushing their very, very best. So we've got to see how on the day this team performs, but I will absolutely give them a chance that they do have the potential to go the distance and make the podium. The next question is from Amitava. Do you think Southgate erred by fielding Rashford, Sancho just 1 minute before end of play rather than giving them at least 10 minutes on the field? Because that would have helped them to get acquainted with the match ball rather than going straight into the tiebreaker. I was actually thinking about this, Amitava, and my thought is he went in. By the way, did you see they were waiting for a couple of minutes before they came on the pitch. So they were waiting for a couple of minutes. The referee and the linesman, the fourth referee, did not look. So having said that, these are proficient penalty takers. These are serious penalty takers who have done that as specialists for their club. Marcus Rashford several times in the EPL, and Marcus Rashford is on record thereafter saying that it was a bad penalty, but he talked about the whole racist vilification. Uh, Clearly, Gareth Southgate went with a predetermined plan of who his penalty takers were. But that's how it is, right? It was 3-2. It was one. It was one shot. It was one shot from Bukayo Saka. If he would have gotten it in, who knows? Anything could have happened. And he played for a while, right? So he was there on the pitch. So how can we distinguish and discriminate or differentiate between, okay, so-and-so was not there on the pitch and so-and-so was there? Donnarumma played well. Unfortunately, they missed the third, fourth, and fifth from all three: Sancho, Rashford, and obviously Bukayo Saka. And that was the end of story. But that happens in sport. You need a winner, you need a loser. I mean, England came second best. It was their misfortune. But so be it. Having said that, they've done well in 18 in the World Cup. They've done well in 20 in the 21 in the Euros. There is every reason to believe that they will do well in Qatar. ADM Raja. Sir, we do very well in World Championships of shooting and archery, but fail in Olympics to replicate similar performances. Will we be able to change it this time? Honest prediction, please. I don't think you're right. I think if you check the shooting performances at least, I don't think we did very well in the World Championships before Rio. I absolutely remember there was a World Championship in April. When have you seen an Indian shooting team, ADM Raja, which has consistently won medals in World Championships? Show me the record. I don't think you have one, because I've followed shooting very, very closely in the last 7-8 years. Every competition I have followed. Whether it is Abhinav, whether it is Gagan, whether it is Jitu, whether it is anyone for that matter ahead of Rio, I don't think we were very proficient even in Rio. The Rio World Championship was in April ahead of the Olympics. I don't think we won many medals. I don't think there was ever a Delhi or a Zagreb. Even in Zagreb, we won a gold, we won a silver, we won a couple of bronze medals. I don't think that has ever happened in Indian shooting history. So this is a different team. This is a good team. But people think we will win medals by the dozen. Sorry, we will not. China has not been participating in the World Championships. China is a top shooting nation. So you have to be realistic. China, Iran, Russia, Korea, Kim Jong-un, for example, some of the America, these are the countries, Hungary, Peter Gossa, and of course Croatia. So shooting is a very democratic sport, and there will be very, very good shooters on the day. You've asked me to be honest. I'm being completely honest. Each of these shooters, or most of these shooters on their day, have the potential and the ability to make the final. How many am I giving? How many medals am I going with? In my mind, what is my thought? Having followed I've seen all the predictions also, by the way. Every competition, I've seen the documentation. I'm going with 3 medals for shooting. I'm going with between 2 and 5 is what I'm going with. 3 is an optimal. I'm going with shooting. That's what I'm going. I mean, Saurabh Chaudhary, Manu in mixed. Saurabh can win in individual, according to me, is in top shape. Abhishek also. Elavani, if on her day, I mean, Rahi Sarnobat in pistol. I do not want to go into other names here, but I'm going to say I'm expecting 3 as an optimum in shooting. And that, if that happens, my total medal count for India is between 9 and 10. And I've been saying this for a long, long time. And if you ask me the breakdown, I'll give you the breakdown. But I'm expecting between 3 and 4 in shooting as an optimum, and that's the maximum. I mean, according to me, if that happens, 4 medals, anything more than 3 will be a terrific performance as far as I'm concerned. So that's what I'm giving, and I'm being completely honest with you. Gonzo, you see how viral that Harleen Deol catch went? BCCI really needs to take a cue from that, improve their social media game and upload more match highlights and moments like that, severely stifling the reach of the game. You know what? I think the BCCI social media team in the England series has done pretty well. Whether it is that toss part with Mithali Raj, where Jhulan and Mithali were talking about it, whether it is that last video of Smriti and Jemima Rodriguez waiting when the winning runs were scored by Mithali Raj, and whether it is this last video of Harleen, I think the social media presence has been pretty good as far as the last series is concerned. And you cannot just tamper with rights and put footage on, because at one point in time, you've got to monetize the game. We keep asking for equal pay, and that is what the ultimate motto is. But if we have to ask for equal pay and we have to get there, you've got to monetize the game. You cannot just put footage randomly and long amounts of footage on social media free of cost for people to download and use. That way, the game will never be monetized. You've got to put it behind a paywall. You have to develop the interest for sure, but after that, you've got to put it behind a paywall. So these are important considerations. that one needs to take into account. The women's game has to be monetized. Otherwise, as long as the women's game is not monetized, you will never have equal pay. And equal pay is it's a catch-22. You've got to invest in both. You've got to aspire to equal pay. That's when you think that we have arrived. But to get there, you've got to do certain things. And eventually the last hurdle is the monetization of the game and the paywall. You've got to monetize it, and you cannot just use footage randomly. Backstage, yes, but match footage, if you try and put everything online for free of cost, then how is the host broadcaster or people who have rights, why should they pay top dollar to buy that rights fee? So, you can't do that. Okay, on that note, Trisha was actually telling me, and we have not included the questions based on name, but Trisha was telling me that there are at least 3, 4, 5 questions which have come, which are questioning that why do you watch the women's game? Why do you support the women's game? There's no point. It is slow. It is boring. It is bogus. Men should only play cricket. Frankly, have you seen the English fans beating up the Italians? And you've seen my usage of words. I've called it despicable behavior. And I call you people despicable. If you think that you will question gender equality in the 21st century and question the women's game, for God's sake, do not ask me this question, because I'll abuse you. For me, this has no place. It has no place in my show. Anybody who believes or disregards the women's game has no place on my show. I don't even consider you guys as sports fans. So I would urge you that there are other people who might be discriminatory, who think, this game is bogus or whatever. Go there. Go there and watch those shows, not mine. I'm not your person. I'm not your person. I will never be your person. And I do not need you. I'll be very candid. I don't need such fans who watch sport to denigrate women. I'm a big supporter of the women's game. I've been a champion of the women's game, and I will constantly do that. I'm being very, very clear. As much as the men's game, I will support the women's game. And I've done that. You see my record. More than any woman journalist in this country, I have supported the women's game, and I can claim that. Anybody who knows the inside, the backstage, will know what I'm talking about. Go ask the cricketers. So if you know me, you will know I will do everything in my powers to back the women, the cricketers. So don't ask such idiotic, stupid, derogatory, irresponsible, unreasonable, silly, and discriminatory questions on my show. I hope I've made my stand very, very clear. This question is from Pride. And the question is, what are the roadblocks in developing a strong Indian Olympic contingent like the USA and China? What could be India's biggest hope for gold this year? I think we are on the right track. The question was structure. That is what you needed in the country. And the structure doesn't happen in a 4-year cycle. It happens in a 12-year cycle. If you take the United Kingdom, and I'll give you the United Kingdom as a best case example. 1996 Atlanta, United Kingdom had 1 gold medal. 1. And if you then check 2012 London, the number increased to 29, and Rio it became 30. So the cycle is a 15-year cycle. 12, take 12, 3 Olympic Games. If you start investing in structure, it will pay dividends at the end of a decade. And India has. India has now started investing in grassroots, whether it is foundations like Go Sports and OGQ and JSW and Meraki and such foundations, whether it is the ministry. I thought Kiran Rijiju was an extraordinarily good sports minister. Make no mistake about it. I'm very, very hopeful about Anurag Thakur, who's a serious person. As far as sports minister, has a background in sport with BCCI. So Anurag should be able to do a major difference in sport. He's young, he follows Olympic sport. It was good of the Prime Minister to have interacted. Shows that the political class takes interest. These are important things, unless the political class takes interest in sport, you will not be able. Trisha, can you hear me? A phone call was coming. I hope you can hear me, or I'll go out and come in. Trisha, give me a WhatsApp saying you can hear me, or Ashish, give me a thumbs up, please. Yes, you can hear me. Beautiful. So my point is very simple, that you have to have a structure. Unless you have that structure, and India has started investing in that structure. Till Beijing, we did not have a structure. It was without the structure, it was jugaad. Abhinav Bindra's father prepares a shooting range at home. Abhinav becomes a top shooter and because of his own passion goes and wins a medal. It was like that. There was never a concerted structure, and that's why we will never become an England or America. Now that has started. If you actually think ahead, you think 2028, not even 24. If you think 2028, that's when the structure will start giving you real dividends, because that's when this effort that you are now putting in into the Olympic Games will give you multiple medals. So that's how it is. I think India is on the right track. Question was from Pride. And you asked me about biggest hope, plenty. I'm giving a serious chance to Vinesh Fogart, to Bajrang Punia, to Amit Fangal, to Saurabh Chaudhary. So I'm giving each one of them real chances, and for gold medals. Don't expect all of them to win, never happens. But if India wins two, I think it will be spectacular. Even if we win one, it will be quite good. I want a haul of 9 to 10 medals because that will make a revolution in this country in multiple sporting disciplines. Rohit, not a sport-related question, just want to know how you gave the name. Who gave you this name? What does it mean? My father. My father gave me this name. My departed father, lost him. That's the point. My father gave me this name, and as I said, I love it because I lost my father at 57, and that's what it is. I mean, it means a person you like, and I lost him at 57. I do not want to say more, but it's a memory that's a sad memory for me. Vaidyanath Hiremat, how will Team India fare in both Sri Lanka white ball series and England test match series? Your take on this? I think Sri Lanka will smash them. I think Sri Lanka is a downward sliding team, and India will smash them, just like England smashed the Pakistanis in the first 2 games and also yesterday despite a 330 chase. I think India will smash Sri Lanka. Coming to the England test series, I think India should do well. You've acclimatized in England for about 5 weeks. That's the maximum you will get. You assemble tomorrow, rather today, in London and go to Durham tomorrow. I just hope there are no COVID cases. And then you have enough practice for 20 odd days, 2 practice games. You will be in best shape. I have every reason to believe India will do well. Anurag Trivedi, Neeraj Chopra, India's best bet for Olympic medal from athletics. Yes, but at the same time, be realistic. Neeraj with 88, there are a couple of Germans. One has withdrawn the world champion and the other fellow throws 90 like a joke. So to expect Neeraj to beat that person is almost impossible. So if he doesn't win a gold, the German doesn't win a gold, that is a bigger news than Neeraj Chopra missing out on an Olympic medal, okay? So let's put it that way. I am giving Neeraj Chopra 35-40% chance, and that's a pragmatic, realistic assessment I'm giving you. He does have a chance. He's number 4 based on the throws this year, 88, that March throw. He does have a chance. He's number 8 in the world rankings in that sense. But he's got to be at his best in the Olympic Games to be able to win a medal. As I said, I'm giving him a 35-40% chance, but I don't, and practically speaking, I do not see a gold. I mean, that German fellow 90 plus is almost second habit now. So in Neeraj's case, I do see him as a major medal contender. He's broken every barrier. As an under 20, 86.48 was a world record. He's a terrific athlete, Neeraj Chopra. Terrific athlete. Having said that, has he peaked? He's coming back. He had an operation. He had an injury. He then had, because of the second COVID wave, couldn't travel, did not participate in most competitions, but he's made the most of his opportunity. So I'm giving him a 35-40% chance. This was from Anurag Trivedi. Okay, Fianshu Dhal, thoughts on the WTC point system. I think it's good. I also think the cycle is quite good. 10-9. India's test matches. I'm very keen to watch the series against New Zealand at home because I want to see how good the New Zealand bowling attack is in subcontinental conditions. They are under test. I mean, the first World Test Championship, we've celebrated New Zealand, but they were also not tested in subcontinental conditions. We are the best team in the world. You've got to perform in every condition. I want to see how Kylie Jamieson and the likes go in Indian conditions against Virat Kohli and his team. So England away, Australia, New Zealand home, South Africa away. It's a good WTC cycle. Gaurav Glashan, don't you think the standard of cricket all across has gone down? South Africa losing to Ireland, Pakistan losing to England. South Africa losing to Ireland is actually good, isn't it? The standard of cricket, at least the Irish are starting to do well again. And this same South African team beat the West Indies in the West Indies, which is thrashing Australia. If the game becomes more democratic that way, I don't see that as a problem. I actually want the Kenyans, the Ireland team, all these teams which were once good to come up again, so that we had more competitive teams rather than India, England, Australia, and New Zealand. I want more teams up there for the game to become more robust, more dynamic, and more competitive. Suri, in an era where Test cricket has been revived and the ODI too, with the stunning World 2019 World Cup, the greed of the ICC with the ridiculous 100 will hurt cricket more. ICC, hello, it has nothing to do with ICC. It has everything to do with ECB. This is ECB's tournament. It has nothing whatsoever to do with ICC. Just like India has its IPL, Australia has its Big Bash, ECB has conceived its 100. Then why are you having the IPL for India? Why are you having the Big Bash for Australia? If they can, the ECB also can. It is their domestic tournament. They have to keep their counties going. They have to keep their financial structure going. It has nothing to do with the ICC and nothing to do with greed. Commercialism and monetization is the way forward. And every cricket board will want to monetize their assets in a manner that they can take the game forward. So let us not get into this whole tangle of greed, etc. Sport without money is zero. That is why my problem with the women's game. You have to monetize the women's game. That's why I answered that question earlier. Now is the time to monetize it. You've got to do that. So I hope I'm making myself very clear. This 100 is not a problem. It's the ECB's tournament and they have every right to do it the way they want to. Nikit, yeah. Asked when is the bidding for 2 new IPL teams 2022 taking place? Okay, July end now, and August early is when they will formalize the paperwork. The tender should be announced middle of August and it will continue till end of September. They will announce the 2 teams. They will announce the 2 teams one day before the IPL in Dubai, or maybe the day of the IPL final in Dubai. That's the plan. And then in November, December, obviously fine-tunings will happen and then the mega auction. That's exactly what I know as of now, that the 2 teams definitely happening. From the middle of August to about 6 weeks, people can put in the tender. And then we will see what happens. The teams will be announced, the winning bidders will be announced in Dubai one day before the IPL final or on the day of the IPL final. Siddharth, 2 more questions is what I'll take. I'm 23 minutes into the show, I'll take 2 more. Siddharth, how many medals can we expect from shooting? I've actually taken this question to a degree. As I said, I'm giving India 3 to 4. There are athletes who have the ability and the potential to win more. And if they do, I would be delighted, like you will be. But let's be realistic and pragmatic. And by being realistic and pragmatic, I think between 2 and 5, 3 is an optimum number, and that will be a decent number of medals that we get from shooting. That's my assumption and my understanding based on the performances. But as I said, 15 shooters never happened. And for the first time, we have a team. Most of the shooters on their day are capable of winning medals. So if somebody has an outstanding day, which is very possible in sport, it will be top-notch for India. So fingers crossed that many of them have their best days in Tokyo. Professor Samuel Oak, will there be 5 maximum foreign players in IPL? Will it remain as 4? As of now, there is no talk of 5. As of now, 4 retentions is what is being discussed. 2 plus 2 or 3 plus 1. 3 Indians, 1 foreigner, or 2 Indians and 2 foreigners is what is being discussed as retention, so that the 2 new teams that come in also get good enough sides. In terms of the number of foreigners, what you've asked here is very much something that is being talked about, but within the BCCI, there's no clarity yet. Within the IPL GC, no clarity yet. So we do not have a firm answer as of now based on the question that you've asked. I hope you guys are happy. I've taken 15 or 16 questions. That's about it. You feel tired, if you sort of do a long show like this, keep watching Sports Today. Tomorrow we will play a special, an Olympic special with 2 very special athletes who have every right or every reason to believe they will win medals. So tomorrow is that special for you on Sports Today at 5 p.m. Watch out. This is your destination. Best Olympics coverage, maximum Olympic coverage, and the most prudent and knowledgeable Olympic coverage is on this platform. Now you choose where you want to go and watch your Olympic Games. I am traveling to Tokyo from Monday. We will break everything on Sports Today, India Today, Aaj Tak and Sports Tak. So watch me and Rahul every day. We will keep coming back to you. So watch Sports Today and support us, because as I said, it will be a destination for the Olympic Games. Thank you very much for watching.